Hello.
Everyone, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the Trevor Garifuna Show. We're live on Tuna Techie TV. I am the one and only Trevor Garifuna, and Tuna Techie means we are watching in Swahili. Currently, right now, I'm dressed to impress because I am in Atlanta, Georgia for the Black and Indian family reunion right here with Priest King, which was one of our guests. Very successful event. We're about to put on a show right here in Atlanta today, and we will be at the Martin Luther King Monument in the next couple of hours. So today we're going to have a very important conversation, a continued conversation on the special autonomy law in West Papua. For those who don't know, the West Papuan community has been struggling underneath the chokehold of Indonesia ever since 1961. Okay, the people of West Papua continue to be victimized for being human beings on their own land by someone who's about 3,000 plus miles away. We're going to start with introductions. We're going to get Sister Leonie to introduce herself, and we're going to get Brother Lewis to do it thereafter. Brother Lewis, if you could do me a favor, remove yourself from the link and then come back in. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove you from it, and then we'll bring you back in. Sister Leonie, please introduce yourself and let us know who you represent. Welcome to Tuna Techie TV. This is the Trevor Garifuna Show.
Thank you very much. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Leonie Tongachma. I am a West Papuan living in the Netherlands, West Papua, and I'm from the Organisasi Papua Merdeka, which is the Free Papua movement. I'm glad to be here on behalf of the people of West Papua, our chairman, Bomanak Jeffrey, as well as on behalf of the National Liberation Army of West Papua. Greetings, revolutionary greetings to you all.
Thank you, Sister Leonie. Once again, Organisasi Papua Merdeka. Organisasi Papua Merdeka. And we've been around for quite some time, and we're here to let you know we're not going anywhere. And we're focused on liberation, self-determination for the Papuan community. Brother Lewis, please introduce yourself. Everyone, welcome to Tuna Techie TV. This is the Trevor Garifuna Show.
Thank you for good night, Leonie. My name is Lewis. Sorry. Yes, sorry. My name is Louis Valid, Prior Valid. I'm one of the member of OPM. I'm based in Australia, and I do a lot of advocacy work for OPM and its military wing PPNPB. And I'm proud to be part of the organization that has a history. And yes, so I'm so happy to be here in this program.
We can't hear you.
Thank you for being here with us, Brother Lewis, and thank you, Sister Leonie. And Sister Leonie, thank you for being here with us. Again, this is an ongoing conversation between the United States of Africa, President Daniel Mwambuno, who we support 100% as the Africa is watching Tuna Techie TV network. We're in the business of empowering our people. That's the business that we're in, empowerment. And today we're going to have a conversation about something called special autonomy. I'm going to bring it up as to what this topic is about. Special autonomy in West Papua and current affairs. What is the benefit of special autonomy, and where is self-determination, where self-determination does not exist for our people? It's a big difference between the two. As usual, all of our audience members don't know what's going on in West Papua. So we're going to ask Sister Leonie to give us a brief on 1961 to date, real fast. 500,000 people have lost their lives. Leonie, who are we? Why are we here? Why are we having this conversation?
We are the people of West Papua, formerly a colony of the Dutch, which was transferred in the 60s in a very strange way, in a very fraudulent way to Indonesia, whereas all the rest of the humanity, all the rest of the colonized people in the world were decolonizing. We were being recolonized in the 60s by a new colonizer, which was Indonesia. Very briefly, again, this is about the right to self-determination of a people in the Pacific, part of the Melanesian group. There are 3 groups in the Pacific. There are Melanesians, Polynesians, and Micronesians. The people of West Papua have always felt keen as a family of the Melanesian group. The Indonesian people are an Asian people, and it brought on to us the necessary pain, or the pain that came with it, that was inflicted on us due to the racism. The Indonesian regime is a very racist regime which looks down upon Black people, in particular the people of West Papua, whom you can see, as you can see, Lewis and I are Black people.
Yeah.
We have been colonized and recolonized by the Indonesian government, and it has used its military to control the territory. It is an illegal occupation that we are facing. The Indonesians usually say that in 1969, the people of West Papua chose to become a part of Indonesia, but we did not. What happened was a fraudulent vote, which we call the act of no choice. It was supposed to be a referendum where 800,000 people in West Papua at the time were going to choose if whether or not they wanted to become part of Indonesia, to be recolonized by Indonesia, or to become a separate entity. And we wanted to become a separate entity. We had already said for at least 10 years. And before that, in the 50s, we had already informed the people, the government of the Netherlands, which was the previous colonizer, and the new colonizers, and to the world, that we wanted to be an independent nation.
Okay.
This did not happen. This was under heavy influence of the Americans, the American government, which at the time discovered something. They saw there was gold, the biggest gold and copper mine in the world, or at least they did the necessary research to start assuming that there was a lot of interest there, and they didn't want to let go. So they didn't actually care if a Black people was actually going to be sacrificed because of that. And we suffer from that act of recolonization ever since. We are one of the rare communities. I mean, there is no other community in Melanesia which actually has people living in exile like we do. We have about 20,000 people living in Papua New Guinea, which is right next door. We have about 500 people in Australia. We have about 1,500 people in the Netherlands. 2 or 3 or 4 families in Sweden. 2 or 3 families in so it's in Melanesia. You don't go away from Melanesia because you feel comfortable. You only go away from Melanesia because your life is threatened by the Indonesians. So this is the situation today. In West Papua itself, it has been a complete disaster for the people of West Papua. It has been a lot of trauma because of the militarization, which brought with it a lot of human rights violations, gross human rights violations. There's been some ethnic cleansing, and we go up to say that there is genocide because there was the intent, according to us, from the beginning to actually wipe us from the surface of the earth. Policies have been brought in, development policies, and one of them started 20 years ago, which was the special autonomy policy.
Exactly. And thank you, Sister Leonie, and Brother Lewis. Special autonomy. Can you tell us what the special autonomy law is? And again, this conversation today is going to be about that and the fact that this is a farce. And for those who don't know what farce means, FARCSE, Google it. It is a figment of our imagination. It's something to make us feel good, make us think we're actually getting something, Lewis. But what is the special autonomy law about 20 years ago that was passed?
Thanks, Trevor. Yes. In 2001, Indonesian government introduced a special autonomy law for West Papua. Um, but the reality is that autonomy is an admission by Indonesian state that the territory of West Papua requires an additional protections from the Indonesian administration. So the key word which says the additional protection, it means that when you
Right.
have a special autonomy, it has to be run by the Papuans themselves,
Right.
and all the military forces, like Indonesian security forces, have to be fully withdrawn from West Papua.
Right.
So that was not really the case. So the autonomy was offered by Megawati government,
Hmm.
which really is a substitute of, in place of the self-determination, which the West Papuan people were asking for.
Right.
So the territory of West Papua has repeatedly rejected the Indonesian special autonomy law, mostly in notable major rallies. For example, in 2005, and presently, where people were carrying coffins, which contained the proposal of the special autonomy law,
Hmm.
and the rallies which were conducted basically back in 2010. So the special autonomy was not the answer to the problem in West Papua. So
Hmm.
anyway, it was introduced in West Papua, but a lot of the rights that are mentioned in the law where that should have been implemented in West Papua were never implemented.
Right.
Nothing at all. What the governor of Papua was saying was they just gave us the money,
Yeah.
but all the rights of the West Papuan people that were actually mentioned in the special autonomy law were never implemented.
Hmm.
So basically, the absolute power, as the chairman Bomanak said, the absolute power is in Jakarta. The governor of Papua doesn't have any power at all. So when there is a major problem, like you have the major military operations
Right.
carried out in the highlands of West Papua, the governor of Papua doesn't have the power to say no. So the absolute power is in Jakarta. They still
Yeah.
control it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you have all these military operations that are going on in West Papua, and people are they are carrying out all these major operations and bombing the villages.
Yeah.
People are being displaced,
Hmm.
and the governor of Papua can't even do anything because he doesn't have the power.
Right.
So it's not really a special autonomy at all to the West Papuan people because as we go along, we see there is an increase in by human rights violations against our
Right.
people.
Exactly.
Our, so our people continue to be displaced on their own land. We have West Papua became heavily militarized.
Hmm.
Our people are being marginalized on their own land. So there's so many problems that are associated with this special autonomy law.
Right. Right. And let me
Yeah.
ask you. Let me ask you, Lewis. And this question is for you as well. I want both of you to answer it. What is the thin line between special autonomy and self-determination? So we have self-determination and we have special autonomy. Across the world, the colonizers have introduced this thing called autonomy. Okay, and when I say I'm informing you as Papuans, I'm a Garifuna man. In our communities, we have something called autonomy, but we can't seem to grow, Luis, Leone. We can't seem to grow with autonomy. So, what is autonomy? What is self-determination? And what is the difference between the two? Lewis, I give you that question for answer it in short for me because we want people to fundamentally understand from your perspective what is autonomy, what is self-determination, and what does the difference look like if we had self-determination versus autonomy? Lewis.
Yeah. Okay. If well, the people of West Papua were asking for self-determination, so which is really a process required by UN Resolution 1514, and it's described in Resolution 11541 as a globally agreed means to determine the sovereignty of foreign and subordinated peoples and nations. So I think that was what people were asking. In regards to special autonomy, it's like some transfer of power to Papuans for them to govern their own government according to what they want, how they feel.
Right.
But that is not the case we are seeing now in West Papua. It's still been controlled by the central government in Jakarta. So it's not really a special autonomy.
Okay.
It's something totally different.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Lewis. Sister Leonie, thin line between special autonomy and self-determination. I have an answer for it, but I want to hear from you guys. Lewis, thank you. Leonie, special autonomy versus self-determination.
Special autonomy is basically used in a very falsified or fraudulent way by the Indonesians. They're pretending that they give special autonomy as a means of respecting the right to self-determination of the people of West Papua.
Right.
But self-determination is about saying what you want and getting and deciding your own future independently from whoever is out there.
Right.
And self-determination could have been special autonomy, but in this case, it is not at all. The people of West Papua want to be independent, and they've said that since the 1950s. They went on saying that in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. We want to be free. We want to be independent from Indonesia. We do not need Indonesia or any other country to run our country for us.
Right.
We can do that ourselves.
Right.
If we mess up, that's us. If we do the right thing, that's us.
That's us.
But it's for hundreds and thousands of years, the West Papuan people have been an independent people. Before the colonizers came. So that was real self-determination, that was real independence. And that's what we want to go back to, understanding that there is a new reality, that the world has changed, but still thinking that the people of West Papua are capable of doing what is best for the people of West Papua and the land that is called West Papua. Special autonomy given by Indonesia is absolutely not it. It is something probably that the Westerners have actually given them as an idea, because very often we will also complain to the United Nations and other powers and tell them, this is not happening. But the Westerners usually tell us, but you have special autonomy, guys. Don't complain too much. And we're like, well, no, we don't. So you have to explain it to them. But at the same time, you have to understand that they have their interest in that country called Indonesia and in our land called West Papua. And so they don't mind that we are going through this fake special autonomy, because all they worry about is the fact that Indonesia has a master plan. This is what they call it, the master plan for the acceleration and the expansion of Indonesian economic development. And the Westerners are very happy to see that, because they can get a lot of money out of it. They've got lots of projects. They can get a lot of... So the plan is based on the accelerated economic growth. So they want to grow economically very quickly. They want to have... They rely a lot on the private sector. So they're going to give a lot of money or invest a lot in that. And the Westerners are very happy to do that as well, because they know they can get a lot of money out of it. And they improve the entire legal, the investment climate that they have. So all the laws that make it possible for them to go into West Papua and to dig whatever resources they have. So the Westerners are happy to do that as well. So when they say to us, come on, guys, you got special autonomy, we know exactly what they mean. We know that they know that we are not having special autonomy. We know that they work together with Indonesia to recolonize us, so that they could get to our national resources.
So basically, we're powerless under special autonomy. Simply put, we want the people to understand.
We're worse off. We're worse off.
We're worse off because, first and foremost, let it be clear. When someone enslaves you or someone takes what's yours, and then they turn around and say, I'm going to give you some of it back, they're not doing you a favor. They took our self-determination from us and gave us something called autonomy. Autonomy basically means the freedom to do with yourself what you can and what you will. But through systemic violations, we can never lift ourselves up by the bootstrap because autonomy is not enough, right? So we're having a special conversation today. We want everyone to know that today's show is brought to you by Africa is Watching Tuna Cheki TV. And when it comes to Tuna Cheki TV, Tuna Cheki means we are watching. And we want the world to know we are watching. We're paying attention to everything that's going on in our community. This show is also brought to you by Rockstone, all the way from Belize. Get your gear, get your outfit from my main man, Darren Sabal. So, autonomy versus self-determination. What our people need is self-determination. And again, self-determination means you have the resources that you need, you have the support that you need to build an industry, to build a society that is self-dependent. You're not dependent on anyone else. In other words, if Indonesia gave a damn about Papuans, Indonesia would have said, look, we're going to provide you with resources. We're going to move, and if you need help, call us, and we're going to take care of you so that you can get to where you need to get to, because we have raped you. We have raped you. Okay? So again, autonomy is not enough. In this special autonomy farce, we're not going to accept it. Now, I want to ask a question here about education, which is very important. Education and ATSUS. What does the chairman have to say about it, Sister Leonie? Education and ATSUS. Can you speak to us a little bit about that? And can you define what ATSU is? Thank you.
So ATSUS is basically special autonomy. It's autonomy khusus. Khusus means special, and autonomy is autonomy. So ATSUS is basically after 20 years of that special autonomy, the Indonesian government has poured millions of rupiahs, that's the currency in Indonesia, into the land. And in terms of education, yes, there are more school buildings. They were able to do that. There are more people maybe who were able to attend the schools. And on paper, there are more teachers. But after 20 years, and this is people who have monitored it and who have studied it, they see that there are buildings, but there are practically no teachers. People don't want to go there.
Yeah.
West Papua is one of those areas where after 20 years of special autonomy, we still have a good, and this is a figure I have to look, 250,000 indigenous Papuans who are at the age of schooling, but who are not attending school.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a huge discrepancy between what we're supposed to be able to be doing with what is happening right now. In terms of expectation, Papuan kids attending primary schools have very little chance of getting to higher levels of education.
Yeah.
In other words, after 20 years of special autonomy, when a big industry comes, because that's what they want. They want to pour money into it so that they can put infrastructure, so Westerners and all the others can come into. When that big industry comes into West Papua, we know already that the indigenous Papuans will not be able to be working there. They won't have the qualification.
Exactly.
They won't have so all this is done not for West Papuans. It is done to prepare West Papua for the Westerners, for capitalists who are there to make money.
To be slaves.
And West Papuans will be there, marginalized, not getting the jobs, and seeing a lot of other people, Indonesians who might have the qualifications, come in and take the jobs. And so it's in terms of education, special autonomy during the 20 years where it was supposed to do us good, it does nothing but bad. I mean, it's on top of it, West Papua is the most militarized zone in Indonesia, and they keep on sending troops. So everything is done in to favor other people. And again, I repeat that same saying that says that whatever is done for me but without me is against me. Because they're doing this all in Jakarta. They're doing this all among themselves. They're taking some house Negroes of theirs to talk about it and to make us to pretend that Papuans are involved.
Right.
And then they say, well, this is it. Special autonomy is for you, but it's not. And in terms of education, the figures are there, and it's just not working. It's just.
I like that. Whatever is done for me that does not include me is against me. And historically, Lewis, this is the way the oppressor has worked. You know, they create these brilliant plans and these great ideas for us, don't even include us, but it's for us, right? I like that, Sister Leonie. Brother Lewis, can you add anything to that? We're still talking about actus, and what does that mean
Yeah,
to you?
exactly. Firstly, we all need to understand that special autonomy in West Papua will not eliminate human rights violations in West Papua, and also will not stop the ongoing war currently we are seeing in West Papua between the Indonesian military and the West Papua National Liberation Army. It's going to continue. That's the fact. That's the fact that we are still now in West Papua. So the war that is currently going on in West Papua will continue until West Papua, the country itself, is fully liberated from Indonesian colonial rule. So the special autonomy law, volume 2, now we've just seen recently passed in July 15, was born without hearing the voices of the West Papuan people. So
Right.
the government even criminalizes those that who reject the special autonomy law with this prison article. So
Okay.
those who goes against it, they charge them with prison.
So are you telling me?
So
So you're telling me, Lewis, that religion is behind all of this?
sorry, come again?
Religion. Are you telling me that religion is behind all of this?
No, I think to do with the way uh the government implements the law in West Papua. So what I mean is that the special autonomy law was extended without hearing the wish of the Papuan people. So um
Right.
it wasn't the Papuans who proposed it. It is the special autonomy law. It
Yeah, it
was
was it was
Indonesian
it was
state
it was
that
Indonesia who
proposed it. Yeah,
imposed it. Yeah, it was
yeah, they
Indonesia who
proposed it.
imposed. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
In 2001, when the special autonomy law was introduced in West Papua, we all thought that okay, that will actually reduce the human rights violations that
Right.
been happening in West Papua. But that wasn't the case. We have seen increased human rights violations being committed by Indonesian security forces. These are very serious human rights violations
Right. Yeah.
we have seen against
Okay.
the civilians in West Papua. So, like recently, we've seen church pastors, priests being shot dead by Indonesian military. We have seen school children being shot dead by the Indonesian military.
Right.
We have seen women and children. There were cases of women and children that's happened in Huga region, where women and children were shot dead by the military and then buried. And later, they had to they discover the grave and they dug out the body. So this list of human rights violations that has been continued on since um, the special autonomy law came about. So is that really a special autonomy law? Like we are questioning whether it is really special autonomy law or it's something totally different.
Right.
Like
Well.
if you try to compare it with special autonomy law that was introduced in Bougainville in Papua New Guinea, it's totally different. Where you have the troops, the military, the defense, and the police from Papua New Guinea, they withdraw, and then the locals in Bougainville, they control the province. So we're expecting that to happen, but it's not the case in West Papua. So you still have the Indonesian military in West Papua. So when you have the military still there, the human rights violation will still continue.
Exactly.
So really, this is not a special autonomy. Special autonomy. It's something totally different.
Yeah. I would.
So
I would say, Lewis, that the it was an illusion, Leonie. It was an illusion, Lewis, that they wanted us to buy into. That's why I mentioned earlier, the one who oppresses you is not going to free you. I repeat, and the one who oppresses you is not going to give you solutions to liberate you. Whatever they give you is to keep you enslaved, regardless of what they give you. Even if it looks good, even if it tastes good, smells good, it can be palatable to all of your five senses. But if it's given to you by those who oppressed you, it's no good for you, period. And what we want the world to know is that in West Papua, like I said, for over 68 years, our brothers and sisters have been killed. They look like you and I. I'm talking about black people, for lack of better words, Moors, whatever you want to call us. People who look like this skin, okay? You see my skin? People who look like my skin.
Yep.
Those are the ones that are being treated like shit, okay, in West Papua. And whether you're in Honduras, where our people are being killed by the Honduran government, or in West Papua, where you're being killed by the Indonesian government, both these governments are giving you false thoughts. They're giving you fake thoughts and illusion of liberation. So what we want to tell the people of West Papua, what we want to tell the Garifuna people, what we want to tell anyone that is oppressed is anything that the enemy gives you is not for you. It's not for you. Sister Leonie, if you could give us your closing thoughts on this conversation, something solid, a message that you could give to the people. Brother Lewis, we're going to start with you. We want to close with Leonie. If you could give the people a message, a thought directly to the Papuan community, but to the Black community as well. Not just to the Papuan community, but to the Black community, people who look like you and I. What is that message, Brother Lewis?
Thank you, Brother Trevor. We would like to appeal to our friends around the world in diaspora. The situation in West Papua is extremely urgent, and we feel that if we don't receive any help from the international community, we will be totally wiped out from our own country. And we need an agent assistance from the African Union, from ACP, the leaders, if they could. Well, I think they know about the situation currently in West Papua now, and with the special autonomy law, they know that our people have actually rejected the law, but it's something that's been forced upon us now by the Indonesian government, and they are using the military itself to carry this in West Papua. At the moment, this special autonomy law, what we're seeing now, it's just similar to the 1969 Act of Free Choice. This is the same pattern we are saying where, they are forcing it against our people, and, without involving us. So we are appealing to our friends in Africa, African Union.
Yeah.
We need international support from our leaders there to ensure that this special autonomy law is stopped. It doesn't get implemented, and the issue or the right to self-determination should be put on the table for discussion. That's exactly what the people of West Papua want. They do not want a second phase of the special autonomy law. What they want is the right to self-determination.
Agreed upon. Thank you, Brother Lewis, and thank you for being a part of this show. Everyone, you are live on Tuna Cheki TV. My name is Trevor Garifuna, and Tuna Cheki means we are watching in Swahili. And we want the oppressors to know, we want every government to know, we are watching. We are watching you, and we're sharing the word and letting the people know that autonomy ain't shit. Okay, and we were letting the people know that the government of Honduras continues to oppress the people of West Papua. We're not going to let that go. We're not going to forget, and we're not going to sugarcoat anything. This is the one thing I love about Tuna Cheki and why I broadcast off of Tuna Cheki, because we don't sugarcoat. Sister Leonie, your closing comment and the message to the people.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. again for letting us talk on this channel where the message is clear. We are watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for understanding the situation. That is exactly what the colonizer, the imperialist, doesn't want to happen. They don't want people to know that the special autonomy is fake, that it is indeed sugarcoating, that it is just an argument that you can throw at West Papuans when they say that they want their right to self-determination and their independence to be respected. They say you have special autonomy, but by watching the show, our brothers and sisters throughout the world can understand that it is fake, that it is not something that is helping, that it is something that helps the oppressor, that it is something that destroys the West Papuan people even more. So we hope our brothers and sisters throughout the world do not buy into this in the same way that we usually get Western governments telling us that, telling us, well, you've got special autonomy, you know, why are you complaining? So hopefully this is well understood. The other thing that is usually the case, and I mentioned the term before, in order to enable such a thing, you need house Negroes.
Right.
And we have them in West Papua.
Yeah.
And thanks to them, the law has been is now being reenacted. The president of Indonesia signed it, and that's what those house Negroes are, the ones that are being shown to the world today by the Indonesians to say that the West Papuans wanted. A year ago, our chairman actually made an intervention. I mean, and one of the things he talked about was special autonomy. I don't know if we have time here to show it, but I don't know if because he was talking about.
Are you able to play that video from your end?
I should be able to if I share my screen.
Go ahead. Let's see if we could do that.
Okay.
And we want to thank everyone. Thank you for your patience. We want to play a little video real quick if we can. And again, you are on Tuna Techie TV. We're live on the Trevor Good Evening Show. And if we can't show this video, we will get a chance to show it at some point.
That'd be nice. Let me see. How do I
no worries
share?
At all. Yeah.
I say share screen. And
okay.
then I do, sorry. Share screen.
We want to thank our guests for being here with us today. Thank you for your patience. Each one of you are important to what it is that we do because we share the message with you. It's your job to take it to the community. It's your job to take it to the community. Are we struggling there with this, sister?
And I've got this thing now. So it's maybe I need your intervention.
No, it's not. It's not allowing me to give you, like giving you host ability so that you could do that like Zoom. So
okay.
yeah, it's okay. We will let's get this.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to have this conversation. We're going to get this video has to be an MP3 in order to play through StreamYard, and Michael Tuna Check-in is helping us with that. My closing comment is this: Sister Leonie calls them house. Go ahead, brother. As we close.
Yeah. The current situation now in West Papua is the issue of the COVID-19, but in order for the Indonesia to force the Papuans to absorb and accept the outcome of the revised law, they've actually used the issue of the COVID-19 as an excuse to prevent our people from protesting and engage in mass demonstrations throughout West Papua. So our people are not actually happy with the outcome of this revised law. So they are going out on the streets and trying to demonstrate, hold demonstrations all over West Papua. But immediately the Indonesian military and the police would arrest them. And they're using this COVID-19 as an excuse to prevent our people so that, they won't do the demonstration and they will sort of absorb and accept the outcome of the special autonomy law. So this is one of the tactics now they're using in West Papua. They're using the issue COVID-19 as an excuse.
Right.
So really,
anything they could use as an excuse, and I must say that COVID-19, and that's the subject we're going to be talking about next week. I have some speakers who's going to come in and we're going to talk about COVID-19. And COVID-19 is being used to turn Americans against Americans. citizens against citizens across the globe.
Yeah.
And fear and division is what the government does. So if you continue to fall for this, people, shame on you. My closing comment, Sister Leonie, you want to call them house Negroes. Well, I live in the United States of America, and we call them house niggas. Okay? We call them what they are. They're house niggas, not house Negroes. Negro means black, for lack of better words, but a nigga is the problem. You know, a Negro is not going to sell his family out. A black person understands that if I sell my family out, I'm selling my community out. But a nigga don't give a damn. You give a nigga $1, you give a nigga a home, you give a nigga a car with 2-door garage, and a nigga gonna sell you out, period. So that's who they are, who we're talking about, those who are selling out the good. Look, 60 Garifuna people have been killed in the past 2 years, Leonie and Lewis. And I want to let you know there was a Garifuna nigga behind every murder. There was always a Garifuna man or a Garifuna woman who jeopardized the life of another Garifuna man or woman. But again, this is the strategy of the oppressor, whether you are in the Caribbean or whether you are way out there in New York City or whether you're out there in the Netherlands or whether you're out there in Australia. It doesn't matter where you at, West Papua. The oppressor is always going to find that house nigga who is going to find it within him or herself to take that money and continue to oppress their people. So once again, thank you for tuning in to the Trevor Garifuna Show. We're live on Tuna Cheki TV out of Kenya, Africa. I am right here live in Atlanta, Georgia. Erica Antoinette, thank you so much for sharing your space. Bodoma, thank you for coming through from New York. Brother Antonio, thank you for coming all the way from Boston. Abuti Medina, thank you for coming from Houston, Texas, so that we could show Atlanta what it means to be free. What it means to be free, okay? We are not after autonomy. We're after something called self-determination, and we want the government to know we are watching. Tune in.